In this lab, I'm going to create two VMs. One will be Linux VM, another one will be Windows VM. I'm going to create the connectivity, RDP and SSH connectivity with both the VMs. So we will able to RDP the Windows VM and log in on the Linux VM using SSH protocol via PuTTY. So I'm going to create those two firewall rules as well. So first step would be to create a VPC. So in my last video I have shown you about the default VPC, which I have already deleted. So in this video I am going to create a VPC. Let's give the VPC name as VPC1. Let's give any description. Name should always be in VPC1, and description we will give any description like my first VPC, and the rest of the things I will keep it as default. I am selecting subnet creation mode as custom, so we will create the subnets. If we'll select it as automatic, then it will create the subnet in each of the 43 regions that we have. It will create a subnet for us, similar to the default VPC that we have. In default VPC we have already seen that in every region there was a subnet created /20 subnet. So if we select automatic here, it will create a default similar to default VPC what we have already seen. So in this video I am going to create a custom VPC. So here click add subnet, or this subnet is already there. We have to just expand it. Expand it. Subnet name as sub1. Description Mumbai subnet. Region we can select from here Mumbai. And then IPv4 CIDR I will keep as 10.0.0/24. We can keep any CIDR. Just for my demo I am keeping it as /24. Rest of the settings I will keep it as default. Here if you can see in the firewall rules, these are the default firewall rules which are already created. If you select any of it, these firewall rules will get created inside your VPC. But for now I am not selecting anything. I am just going to create the VPC and then hit create VPC. This will create the VPC for us. Once this VPC is created, then we will start creating the compute engine. One will be Linux and another one will be Windows. So this VPC creation will take a minute or so. Okay, so our default VPC is already created. Let's click on this VPC and check once. So this is the default configuration that we have already listed. Subnet, we have one subnet created, and then firewall rules, we don't have any firewall rules as of now. Routes, we should be having the routes. If you select any region, then you can see the routes. So if you see, right, there are two routes. One is the IGW default IGW gateway route, another one is the interconnectivity route, that is this subnet. All the resources created inside the subnet will be able to connect with each other. That route is already there. Now let's move and start creating the compute engine. Go to the compute engine, virtual instances, and here click on create instances. So first instance we will create as Debian or Ubuntu. We can create any Linux VM, that is fine. Let's Mumbai, select the Mumbai region. Mumbai is the region where we have created the subnet. Select the region, select any zone, and then E2 is the default instance type that we will select, and then standard. Rest everything we will keep it as default, and then go to the OS on operating system. Here the default one is, I think, Debian is selected. If you want we can change it, otherwise let's keep it as it is. And then data protection, rest all the settings we will keep as it is, no changes for now. So rest all the things we will keep it as default for now. Okay, hit on create instance, and this is the first instance which is getting created. Let's create another instance, and let's keep the name of this instance as Windows. Mumbai, select the region as Mumbai. Mumbai, zone as 1B, any zone you can select. Then in the OS and storage you have to change it. Search here Windows, Once you have Windows Server, select Windows Server. Windows 2025 Data Center Edition is there. This has a expression. Desktop experience is there for this Windows. Select this and then data protection. Rest all the things you can keep it as default and hit on create VM. So this VM is already created. The first one is already created. If we want to try to SSH this VM, as of now this will not work, but in order to access this VM we have to create few firewall rules. So let's meanwhile this Windows VM is getting created, let's go to the VPC section and try to create the firewall rule. I am duplicating my tab, so from here I will open the VPC network, and VPC I will click on firewalls. So once you hit on firewall, you will have these two options: create firewall policy and create firewall rules. Firewall policy is a group of firewall rules. So first we have to create a firewall rule. The firewall rule name is RDP. First one is RDP remote desktop. Logs we can keep it as off. Ingress, allow specific tag we can mention as Windows, and then IPv4 range, for now we are keeping it as 000.0.0/0, and then source filter, source tag, let's leave it as it is, and then source destination filter we can keep it as 0.0.0.0/0. For now I'm keeping it as 00. You can specify the exact IP address, the public IP address of the source VM and public IP address and your system IP address, so it will allow the connectivity from your system as only. But for now I am keeping it as 00. So you just know how to create a VM and how to RDP or SSH to a VM. Going forward we will have a specific sections on how to create a firewall rules, how to allow in this specific rule. Those all things I will cover. So for now click on TCP. Windows RDP port is 3389. Select that and create this rule. Network we have to select VPC network and then hit create VM, create rules. So this rule is getting created. Now create another SSH rule, SSH Linux SSH, and then you can network we have to select at VPC, ingress, allow specific tag value is Linux. We can keep any tag value. We have to apply this tag value on the resources on which we want to have the SSH connectivity. Suppose we have 5 Linux VM, so if this rule will get allowed to all those VMs on which this Linux tag is applied. I will show you that. So for this, for now 0.0.0.0/0 and sound filter none, destination filter will be IPv4 0.0.0.0/0, and then specific port will be 22, and then create the firewall rule. Okay, good. We have two firewall rules created, RDP and SSH. For RDP, the tag name is target is Windows and the tag name is also Windows, right? Where is the tag name for this? Enable protocol. I think we did not put any tag for Windows, right? Added this. No, we have that tag, right? Tag is Windows. So tag is Windows, and then why cannot we see that tag here? We should be seeing it. I am not able to see it. Target tag is Windows. It's just in front of my eyes. So target tag is Windows, and SSH. If we go to SSH, the target tag here it's Linux. Target tag is Linux. So if you apply these tags on whichever resource you will apply this tag, this rule will get applied. Now let's go to our VM that we have already created. If for now, if I try to RDP, so let me search MSDSC, and then let's click on this. So this is open. Let's try to paste it and connect. So see, this server is not getting connected for now. Now let's go inside this server and then hit edit, and apply the network tag that you have created. So in the network tag section, write here Windows and then just save it. Okay. Now if you try to access the same VM, let's wait for this to get saved. Once the saving is completed, right, then we can hit dot connect and I'm pretty sure this will get connected. Let's wait. So this is saved. Now hit on connect. See, I can get the RDP prompt. So if you want, you can what will be the password for this Windows? So you can set the password actually. So in order to set the password, you have to click on this drop down menu, right? Set the password and then the username, you can change the username. I can provide a DBA cloud DBA. That will be my username and then set this. And you got the password. Let me save this password somewhere in a safe location so I have it handy. Okay, now I have saved it. So in order to log in on this VM that we have already created, uh, so let's log in, right, and then connect. More choices, use different name, cloud DBA, and the password is the one that I have already saved. And then we are able to connect to this VM. See, I'm able to successfully able to log in on this VM. This is Windows Server 2025, right? So this is working perfectly fine. Now what about the Linux VM? Okay, so this VM is working perfectly fine for me, right? I can log in on this VM. RDP is working. Now I can do whatever features or application that you want to install. You can work on this VM. So this is the first Windows part is completed. Now let's go to this Linux part. If we go to this Linux part, right, there are a couple of steps that we have to do. First one is open puttygen on your system. Puttygen. From puttygen we have to create one public key and private key. You might already have it. So generate a public key. Click on generate and then hover over it, this blank space, so it will create a random password, random public key for you. Once this public key is created, then on this comment section you have to write the username that you have to use. I have mentioned cloud DBA, and then we have to go to this instance and edit this instance. We have to do two things. First one is we have to provide the network tag which is Linux, and then second one is we have to add the SSH key that we have created just now. So go to the SSH section. So here if you see, right, SSH key, block projected wide SSH key, add item, you get the option for SSH key, and then from here, right, the one that you have created, copy this complete SSH key and then paste it here and then save it. Once you save it, and from here you have to save the private key. Are you sure you want to save this key without a passphrase to protect it? Yes, click on yes and then save it on your system. So linux.ppk, save it, and this private key is saved. This machine is also saved. It's getting saved with the configuration that we have. Now what we did, right, we opened puttygen, we generated the public key and private key. This public key we have pasted into the VM section by editing on it and then pasting it. This is one thing that we have done. Other one is we have applied the Linux network tag that we have created. Then after that we have saved the private key. This is the public key that we have saved here. This is the public key that we got. We copied that public key in the VM configuration and we have saved the private key in our local system. right? You can now close this putty gen. Now the next step is you have to open putty on your system. So go to your system, open putty, and then from here if you go, you can get the public IP of this VM. This is the public IP. Go to putty, and in putty paste the host name here, and go to SSH section, auth, credentials, and then browse your private key here. So this is my private key Linux, which I have just now created, and then click on connect. See, it's trying to connect, and we got the login cloud DBA. See, I'm able to log in. Sudo su, see, host name, and then cat /etc/os release, and this version is Debian. This is Debian, version is 12. Okay, so this is how we can create. I have created one public Linux VM and one Windows VM. I have shown you how to download, how to create a public key for yourself, then how to configure that public key in the Linux VM, and then log in on that Linux VM. That is first step. Second is how to create a Windows VM, generate a credential for your Windows VM, and then log in onto your Windows VM. I have also shown you the firewall rule part, how to create a firewall rules for these two VMs. I have created one for Windows VM. I created the RDP rule, and for Linux VM I created the SSH rule, and these SSH and RDP rules need to be applied on these two VMs. So we have went to edit section, and in the network tag section we have applied that particular tag that we have created in the firewall rules. So this part is done. Thank you. One thing I left is, after creating these VMs we have to delete all these resources. So select these two VMs, skip. Since we don't have any application running, we can generally skip graceful shutdown and then hit on delete. It will start deleting these two VMs. Once these two VMs are deleted, then you can go to the VPC section and delete the VPC as well. That VPC will delete the firewall rules that you have created inside that VPC, and the subnet that you have created will get deleted. So by this way you will not occur, any cost will not be occur in your account, in your project. So we have deleted this VM. Let's wait for some time to delete this. Once these VMs are deleted, then probably we can go ahead and delete the VPC as well. So my both the VMs are already deleted. Now let's go to the VPC section, VPC, and here click on VPC and hit delete VPC. We have to type VPC1 and then delete.